within weeks of Royal Caribbean's 9-month-long world cruise, setting sail in December 2023, the voyage unexpectedly became the center of a social media storm. The prospect of 9 months on a 2-decades-old ship, sailing to more than 60 destinations with hundreds of strangers, captured the public's imagination as passengers began posting on TikTok. It sounded more like the premise for a reality show than the trip of a lifetime. For a moment, it felt like everyone, even if they were previously oblivious to world cruises, was talking about the 9-month cruise and its real-life reality show potential. Social media followers waited to see how this social experiment at sea unfurled. Would there be romance, conflict, drama, twists and turns? Anything can happen, is how one social media user ND, who is following along from land, put it to CNN Travel back in January. 9 months later, the voyage, dubbed the ultimate world cruise by Royal Caribbean, is finally wrapping up, reaching its last port, Miami, on September 10th. To mark the voyage's end, CNN Travel caught up with those on board to find out what it was like to spend 9 months living at sea with the world watching along at home. The passengers chronicling the 9-month cruise on TikTok ranged from a 50-something widowed solo traveler named Anthony McWilliams, who aimed to inspire followers to live life to its fullest, to a 26-year-old South African influencer called Amika Oosthuizen, who could always be relied on for a glamorous take on life at sea. Also in the mix was lovable boomer couple Joe and Audrey Martucci, new to social media and posting under the handle of spending Orchids money. This is a joke. Joe Martucci stresses to CNN Travel, there's still plenty of money left for the kids. 40-something sisters, Brandy Lake and Shannon Marie Lake, demonstrated how to live with an adult sibling and not go stir-crazy, while a Gen Z traveler known as Little Rat Brain posted chaotic ride dispatches from sea. Former NASA employee Bobby Waterman and her partner Tam, posting Atom and Bobby, gained fans for candidly talking about traveling as an LGBTQ+ couple and Bobby's experiences as a trans woman. American traveler Angie Linderman garnered attention after she spoke movingly about her path to the ultimate world cruise, which included the untimely death of her parents and the discovery that Linderman lives with the BRCA gene, making her more susceptible to breast cancer and ovarian cancer. For those looking for a behind-the-scenes glimpse at life on board Royal Caribbean, crew member Julian Mendoza, a.k.a. Cool Joel 1, produced day in the life videos on board, while performer Daniela Salvatore Arbisi posted on his account a singing sailor, and even secured a cameo from the ship's captain. Each person offered a different perspective on the cruise. These multiple points of view perhaps partly explains the voyage's virality. There was someone for everyone to relate to, and there was potential for clashing personalities. You're putting all of these people on a ship for 9 months, and when they're on the ocean, when they're sailing, there's no escape, says British social media user Beth Ann Fletcher, who chronicled the cruise, largely from land, on her own TikTok account. Living my Beth life. What drama is going to happen? Fletcher wasn't surprised by the viral appeal of the cruise. If you're interested in travel and you're also interested in psychology and people, what more could you want? Fletcher tells CNN Travel, they're all there together, but they're going to see the world as well. It's almost like reality TV show, Below Deck, but a 9-month episode. Still, for many of the passengers, the early social media furore was surreal and unexpected. Joe Martucci didn't know how to spell TikTok before he posted his first video. Spurred on by his kids, even travelers like Oosthuizen, who had a pre-established TikTok presence, were shocked. I honestly did not think it would explode as much, Oosthuizen told CNN Travel back in January. Over the first month at sea, the viral fame reverberated through the ship. Soon, we had billions of people watching us and saying, "What drama is going to happen?" recalls the passenger known as Little Rat Brain, or LRB, for short, a 24-year-old American who has asked for her real name not to be included in this article for privacy reasons. LRB, speaking to CNN Travel on the eve of the cruise's end, says she understands it seemed like the perfect setup for a reality TV show. It's a lot of people in a small area where pretty much everything is free, she says. Technically, nothing was free. The 9-month cruise cost anywhere from $59.99 to $9.99 to $175.999 per person, but unlimited onboard food and drinks was included in that sum. Any food you want, all the alcohol you could possibly want. You really have no responsibilities? LRB continues. In the end, those at home waiting for shocking dispatches from the eye. Ultimate World Cruise were largely left wanting. Headlines announced at least one onboard death, but elderly passengers passing away from natural causes is somewhat expected on a months-long voyage. The ship also rerouted from time to time due to world events, protests, and extreme weather events, but it's not unusual for itineraries planned years in advance to shift. While those on board were occasionally irritated by one another, the people who predicted, as LRB recalls, that there's definitely going to be divorces, someone's going to get thrown overboard, were seemingly wrong, although divorce rumors were rife throughout the 9 months. Inevitably, social media interest in the cruise diminished as the weeks rolled on. After all, nothing stays viral for 9 months. We definitely did see the interest die off, says passenger Anthony McWilliams, adding that some travelers took a hit emotionally when their engagement dropped. There was TikTok-based drama too. Amika Oosthuizen says her account was banned and then deleted. They said I was selling counterfeit goods, which I was not selling at all, she tells CNN Travel. Oosthuizen set up another account, which never quite reached the dizzying heights of the 6 million plus people who watched her early video chronicling the Serenade of the Seas, crossing the treacherous Drake Passage. For many travelers, the decline in online scrutiny was a relief. The attention sort of evened out as the trip went on, which I think was good as it allowed some of the pressure or energy around the trip to normalize, and allowed me to focus more on this experience. Passenger Angie Linderman tells CNN Travel. Still, even 9 months in, Linderman still saw people discover her social media for the first time. I still have people who are finding my page and reaching out because they also have BRCA or have also lost a parent and want to connect with someone else who has that shared experience, she says. While some TikTok users dropped off, others tracked the 9-month cruise to its end, living vicariously through the passengers as they explored the globe. We had people messaging us to say, "Thank you so much for taking me along on this journey." My says Audrey Martucci of Spending Orchids Money, who recalls a surreal moment when she and her husband were recognized by fans in Halifax, Canada. I have people that have been along for the whole 9 months, says McWilliams. But then there's also some people that are like, "Oh, we thought y'all were dead." Fletcher, following along on land, responded to the ebbing public interest by posting fewer recaps as the months went on. But as she switched to posting about actual reality television shows, Fletcher continued to stay up to date with those on board, gradually building relationships with passengers, realizing these people are just on their vacation, having a nice time. When the Serenade of the Seas docked in Southampton in the UK, some of the passengers and crew invited Fletcher on board. It was such a surreal day, because we have been talking about these people for this long, and then to actually spend time with them, it was like being with old friends, says Fletcher. She particularly bonded with Joe and Audrey Martucci, dubbed Cruise Mom and Dad by their followers. The couple lived up to their moniker, welcoming Fletcher wholeheartedly. "It was like meeting one of our kids," says Joe, of their day together in Southampton. "Beth Ann's one of those people we will keep in touch with. Probably forever," says Audrey. "She's such a special person and we're glad to be her friend." For Joe and Audrey, befriending a British TikToker some 20 years, their junior, who wasn't even on board the ship, was one of many unexpected special connections they made over the past 9 months. Many of the passengers cite the friendships and community as integral to their experience on board the Serenade of the Seas. McWilliams calls fellow passengers Brandy and Shannon Lake his sisters and says he also bonded with Fletcher. As well, social media user ND, who went from following the cruise from afar on her account and she mad to joining the voyage for a week. "The older you get, the less likely you are to make these kinds of friendships," McWilliams says. "We're really fortunate." Little Ratbrain says it's been fun to be part of a supportive, creative community on board, even if she jokes the cacophony of camera phones occasionally gave Truman Show vibes. Brandy Lake says she connected with different people on board in different ways, from shared love of adventure excursions or art, to the older travelers she sees as her ship aunties and uncles. What unites everyone on board, Lake says, is the underlying thread of this awesome experience. It's an experience Lake suggests will be hard to talk about to people when we get off the ship. The group also helped one another through trickier times together, too. While living a permanent vacation might sound appealing, the travelers say it wasn't always easy. Joe and Audrey Martucci stressed that while they couldn't ask For a better trip and a better opportunity, they did get a little tired being on vacation. They missed their kids and struggled being far away, as major life events played out on land. 9 months is a long time, says Joe. I wouldn't do a 9-month straight cruise again. It's just way too long away from family, away from everyone, and we started to feel burned out. We couldn't really catch up with sleep, says Audrey of the nonstop nature of the itinerary, before adding, we do realize how first world problems this sounds.